guys. So today we're going to be doing part two of our personal energy use audit. So we're going to have to do a few conversions today, and that's why our bell ringer is going to be doing some practice conversions similar to the ones that you'll see on your assignment today. So if you take a look at the two practice ones that I have on the first slide here, we have Jose's family uses about 30.3 kilowatt hours of energy per day. How much is that in BTU, which is British thermal units, just another unit of energy. So the conversion for kilowatt hours to BTU is listed right here, and that's all we'll need to know in order to do this conversion. So when we do a conversion, we take whatever we're given, which is 30.3 kilowatt hours, and we put that down first. So I wrote right here 30.3 kilowatt hours, and I want to convert it to British thermal units. So BTUs is going to go on the top of my conversion factor, right? The whole thing is what I call the conversion factor. So if I'm trying to get to BTUs, okay, I put that unit on the top here. And the conversion factor comes from right here. And it says for every 1 kilowatt hour, it's equal to 3.41 British thermal units. So 1 kilowatt hour is going to go on the bottom. And also notice that these units match up with these units. So that's another way to set up your conversion is always drag these units down to the bottom. And it's 1 kilowatt hour for every 3.41 times 10 to the third BTU. And to take that out of scientific method, right, it's 3,410. Once we calculate, right, we do 30.3, we multiply across the top and divide by the bottom, and you get 103,323 BTU. That would be the energy equivalent in British thermal units. So that is the first part. The second part is then how much coal would be required to fuel their house. So I've gone from kilowatt hours to British thermal units to now pounds of coal. So my second conversion I'm going to need here is 1 pound of coal is equal to 12,000 BTU. So again, I'm going to start with what I'm given. So I know how many British thermal units it takes to fuel their household energy needs. So I'm going to start with this number right here, put it in the front of my conversion factor, and then times my line. And the conversion is for every 12,000 BTU, it's 1 pound of coal. Okay, so I multiply across the top, I divide by the bottom, and I get 8.61 pounds of coal would be needed to fuel their house. So those are some example calculations of the conversions you'll be doing on the energy audit today. And for your bell ringer, your assignment, you guys are going to be answering these two questions on the bottom here. So similar setup, we've got, instead of Jose, we've got Jen's family. Looks like I was really feeling the J names. And her family uses 60.5 kilowatt hours. So same conversion setup. You're going to do kilowatt hours to BTUs in the first one, and then take that number, your answer here will be what you start with to convert from BTUs to coal. So let's take a look at your assignment now. You should have filled out the energy use audit table, and you should have gotten your totals at the bottom here. So our first question is, how much electrical energy do you consume each day on average? How much would that be each year? So you're going to want to look at your total from the this column right here. So energy per day. This number is going to be used right here. So you'll list that number first, and then that's per day, right? It says each day. So how much would that be each year? So you need to think, okay, how many days in a year? 365. So take your energy per day, multiply it by 365 to get your yearly energy uh, amounts. Now, your numbers are going to be sort of used in each one of these, so you have to do this in order. So you're like, for example, we're going to use this number from this total from number one, this annual total, in other questions below. So you definitely have to do this in order. I listed all of the conversion factors that you may need to use. You might not use all of them, but I listed them up here. So these are all the possible conversion factors you might need to use. So I've given you guys an example of a personal energy use audit that's already been done. If you go in the Schoology folder and find the example calculations for personal energy use audit, I put that page on here. You will have your own numbers. So by no means should you be putting in the numbers that you see here, but it's to give you an idea of how to set up your conversion so you have something to base it off of. So this number right here is from the totals column, right? So the number that they got right here was the number from right here, right? The total kilowatt hours per day. And they kind of just go through from there. So they did not calculate the yearly here. So keep that in mind. They just did the day, so the yearly is not on there. But every other calculation that you may need is written below here. So these are examples to go off of. You're going to use your own numbers though, so make sure that you're using your own ones. And I also typed in blue font some extra instructions if you're confused, or I put the conversion factors, for example, that you'll need to use to kind of give you an idea. But I didn't want to just do all the math for you because that is probably part of the critical thinking problem solving that you need to be doing here. So if you have any questions, of course, email me and I will get back to you ASAP. And then the last question is not a conversion. So that one is the cheapest fuel necessarily the best choice. Explain your reasoning in economic, that should say social, and environmental terms. So, like, for example, the coal cost versus the natural gas cost. Which one is cheaper, and is that the best option for us to use? Thinking about the environmental impacts, etc., etc. So that is the part two. So that's what we have for today, and make sure that you complete the bell ringer first, and then you complete these conversions after that. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. All right, bye guys.